Hi cuties, my name is Hanako Kozumi and this is the channel Nerdy Nekoma. Everything here is about Haikyuu chat stories and fanfic. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. And with that, welcome to today's video. It's called Dark Intentions and is the sequel to Pretend to Get Beat Up and Flinching. It's a DaiSugaIwaOi ANGST video with a happy end. However, I'll have to warn you, the happy end will not be in this part and probably not in the next one, but we'll get there eventually. Still, there are a few content warnings that come with this video, which are implied violence, injuries, and overall just a major angst. So if you know that you don't handle that well, that's completely fine. You don't have to watch this video. Think about it twice. If you do, however, want to watch it, I hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Suga's eyes widened in shock. His blood suddenly seemed to freeze. Cold shivers ran through his system and he felt increasing nausea in his stomach. He was horrified. It was nothing more but a few letters, but that was all it needed. Koshi? You're home already? Haikyuu heard the door close as he followed the sound to the hallway. Yeah, there was an inspection in the main building, so the last classes were cancelled. Normally, they would try to avoid doing such things during school, but it seemed unavoidable today, something about the paperwork and schedules. He put on his slippers and walked inside. Even though he had to work less than usual, the former setter seemed exhausted. What about you, Kawa? Why are you here already? Don't you have practice today? Haikyuu furrowed his brows a little. No, it's Monday, the 2nd of the month. You know, the day we take a break and concentrate on scheduling and individual training. Oh, right. I'm sorry, my mind is a little chaotic lately. Suga gave him one of these warm smiles as he went to the kitchen to prepare himself a snack. Haikyuu followed and gently snuck his arms around the other's waist. He still didn't dare to hold him too tightly, even though more than a week had passed since the attack. Suga's wounds luckily healed quite well, and if he could trust the judgment of Tsukishima and Kuro, Kenma's and Hinata's did as well. That was the good news. The bad were that they still hadn't managed to find that guy. Not even a trace of him, at least not to his knowledge. Any specific reason that made your mind so chaotic? He placed his head on Suga's shoulder. The other sighed and paused. Actually, yes. Before Haikyuu could ask, the silver-haired led both of them to the couch and let himself fall into the setter's arms. He smiled sympathetically and gently started to play with the light curls. That bad? Suga groaned. I'm not sure. Haikyuu raised an eyebrow. The other sighed again and reached for his phone, sitting up in the process. The taller watched him curiously, a hint of worry reflecting in his eyes. I have been getting texts lately. Texts? Weird texts. At first, I thought it was just spam, but then it became more specific, specifically aimed at me, and it didn't sound like spam. Haikyuu's frown increased as he watched Suga opening the app. You're so pretty, Koshi. I can't wait to meet you. I know where you live? He read the text aloud, his voice raising at the last message and a slight gasp escaping his throat. I know, it sounds threatening. It does. He took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. A lingering panic had started to bloom in his chest and mind, but it was useless to jump to conclusions. He knew that Suga didn't want him to worry. It meant a lot to him that he told him, especially after the last time, so he wouldn't ruin it by freaking out. He gulped. Even now, he could see Suga nervously wearing his bottom lip between his teeth as he waited for his reaction. What are your thoughts about this? He didn't manage to hide his distress completely, but Suga relaxed regardless. I think it's most likely nothing serious, just a troll or crazy fan of you that somehow found me. That, or it might be my connection to Daichi. Ever since he was on TV after the shooting, he gained a little internet fame. He rubbed his hands together subconsciously. You weren't involved in either of these events. True, and we also didn't make a big deal of our relationship. However, we also don't keep it a secret. With a bit of research, it's easy to find the connection. Aikawa nodded slowly. So, you think it's nothing? Yes, at least nothing major to worry about. But I still wanted to show someone, just in case. Good. There was a short moment of silence between them. What about that last message? I know where you live. Suga chuckled nervously. That one almost gave me a heart attack when I first read it. But some people on the internet would say anything for attention. It's the only time I replied. I asked where they thought I lived. That was 3 days ago. They read it but never answered, so I think they got what they wanted. Attention. Aikawa observed the other closely. Small shivers tore through his body occasionally, and he had subconsciously lowered his head, making himself smaller. The brunette gently took the phone from Suga's hand and placed it out of sight before pulling the smaller into his arms. Sorry, I guess everything was just a bit too much lately. His voice sounded strained and he sniffled a little. Hey, that's okay. You just recovered and now this. Everyone would feel exhausted after all of this, but it's over now. You're safe. He gently patted Sugawara's back and placed little kisses on his temple and hair. Whoever texted you stopped, and your wounds are almost completely healed. As understandable as your fear is, there is nothing you need to be afraid of. I'll make sure of it. Thank you, Toru. That's what I'm here for. As long as you're home and with us, you're safe. Never forget that. Suga smiled and lifted his head to kiss Aikawa. You are my home. Nothing and no one in the world could replace any one of you. He put their foreheads together and just enjoyed the moment. The warmth from Aikawa's skin, his calm breathing, and the soothing rhythm of his steadily beating heart. Slowly but surely, Aikawa's presence put his anxiety to rest. Thank you for being there for me, for taking me seriously even when I tell you that I don't consider this worth worrying about. Aikawa nodded and pulled him closer again. Do you want to tell the others about this? Suga shook his head gently. No, I already feel much better after talking to you. As I said, I think it's most likely nothing. Haikyuu has already enough to do. I know he says he isn't working on my case, but he does. He really shouldn't. They should let him. Suga laughed. They can't. He's too close, he's biased. Oikawa huffed. Still, they should let him. At least then we would probably have that guy already. His stupid colleague doesn't even manage to get a trace of evidence. Don't be like that. I thought you liked Zutsuki-san. Oikawa pouted, clearly sulking. Still. Suga laughed again. He just wished he could hear that sound forever. Always his laugh, never his cries. Did I ever tell you how much I love this side of you? He looked at him with warm brown eyes and rosy cheeks. Oikawa felt his face heat up. He returned the smile and leaned a little closer. You might have mentioned it, but I have an awful memory, so if you could repeat it, please? They laughed together, their foreheads touched. I love you, Todo Oikawa. I love you too, Koshi. How cute. I'm assuming none of you had the motivation to prepare dinner. Iwaizumi playfully ruffled through the silver curls and nudged Oikawa in his side. He whined. Iwa, why do only I get punished? Special immunity for being injured. Suga smirked at Oikawa and leaned into Iwaizumi's touch as he lifted his chin to give him a gentle kiss on the lips. Oikawa pouted, but it was short-lived when Iwa leaned down and kissed it away. Suga watched him as he walked over to the open kitchen, which allowed him to keep up a conversation while Iwaizumi started preparing food, and to watch the usually so stoic trainer be all domestic and cute and overall perfect husband material. So, how was your first day of work, Suga? The other laughed. You act as if I just started as a teacher. You know what I mean. It was nice, a bit exhausting, but fine. The kids are all sweet and kind. Iwaizumi raised an eyebrow and didn't seem convinced at all. But the real horror starts on Thursday. He grimaced, so obviously repulsed by the idea as if someone offered him to eat sand. What is it? What is this horrible monster hunting our Koshi? Exams? Do you have to take over the class with a completely messy teacher again? Or is there a discussion about the schedule or some boring as freak conference about the printers? God, I wish. Iwaizumi chuckled. It's worse than that? Suga nodded. Worse than the printer conference? Much worse. The front door opened and they heard footsteps coming down the hall. Suga, why so tired? He groaned. Daichi carefully inspected the teacher, acknowledging with relief that the exhaustion was exaggerated. Wait, let me guess. Parents-teacher conferences. Yes. He whined and dramatically let his chin slump down onto the back of the couch. Oikawa burst out laughing and Iwaizumi joined in. Damn, I should have guessed it. Suga grumbled something under his breath before he was suddenly stopped by the tender touch of a pair of lips against his forehead. You got this. You have really no idea how brutal they can be. Parents. I mean, yeah, sure, they raised the little beasts, but the children are very well behaved in comparison. If I hear one more time what a sweet little angel that child is, and that they can do no wrong, I might just vomit. They laughed again. Laugh as much as you want. You'll be the one dating a ghost. Oh no, Koshi. Oikawa dramatically placed a hand over his heart. Please don't die. What will my fans think when I date a ghost? I'm sure you can survive it. Iwaizumi was already back to cooking, clearly not taking the obviously very serious threat seriously. Just try to think of all the emotional support you will get when you get home. Suga sighed and leaned into Daichi's touch, who gently started to massage his shoulders. And if that's not enough, I wouldn't mind giving you physical support. He winked at him before getting up to help Iwa with dinner. On Thursday evening, true to his words, Suga felt more dead than alive. Although, Daichi's offer in mind, there was hope. Even though he was sure that he had to skip the physical part for today. He chuckled and got back to the stack of papers in front of him. Just a little bit of paperwork on top of the conferences, though this was certainly the easy part. When his phone vibrated announcing a new message, he thought nothing much of it. It was probably just one of his partners asking when they should make dinner. These conferences were always pretty unpredictable. However, when he unlocked the phone, it only showed a text from an unknown number. Hey Koshi, how are you? He stared at it, confused. He said from his family would use his first name. I can't wait to meet you. Realization kicked in. The crazy fan from the internet. For a moment, his heart rate spiked, but a few deep breaths and he calmed down. They already talked about it. It was probably nothing. Though, there was something different this time. How did he get his number? Cold sweat ran down Suga's spine and his breathing turned more and more shallow. Ever since the attack, he didn't handle these kinds of things well. Stress, threats, danger. He was constantly on edge and jumpy, even though his days went by as usual. He tried to fight it, if not for his own then for his boyfriend's sake, who watched the change in his behavior with growing concern. He needed to get home. Home where he was safe. Home. Another vibration. His breathing faltered. Suga's eyes widened in shock. His blood suddenly seemed to freeze. Cold shivers ran through his system and he felt increasing nausea in his stomach. He was horrified. It was nothing more than a few letters, but that was all it needed. You asked me a question last time, remember? He almost failed to read the text, but there on the phone was written, without a doubt, his address. The address to their apartment. He read it over and over again, but it didn't disappear. He had to warn the others. He had to get home, where he was safe. He hastily reached for his bag and ran down the hallway. Wait! His breathing was rapid and the sound was like loud buzzing in his ears. Wait. Home is not safe anymore. Right. The person had the address. They could be already there. No. Stop. Think clearly. He couldn't allow panic to overtake his mind. He needed to stay calm. Oikawa said that home was a safe place. But he didn't mean the building. They are home. In this moment, at this time, that meant the exact same thing. Deep breath. This was fine. For all he knew, it was just one person, and even 3 didn't stand a chance against a cop, an athletic trainer, and an athlete himself. Even if someone knew the address, he could still go there as long as his boyfriends were there as well. He continued walking, slowly accelerating step by step. He just needed to get to his boyfriend's and nothing could happen. All the bad stuff only happened when they were separated. The faster he'd get there, the faster... You know what's funny? That voice. He knew that voice. His heart skipped a beat and his breath hitched. He turned around, arms raised in case he needed to defend himself, but just when he saw the dark figure in front of the school building, the first punch hit him. A hot wave of pain pierced through his neck. That I know your address, yet you don't even consider that I know your workplace as well. Suga tried fighting himself up from the ground, but he got him good. Whoops, seems I missed. Another hit, another wave of pain. He tried to scream, but no sound escaped his mouth. The man had hit precisely the point at his throat that turned him speechless and gasping for air. It really doesn't seem to be my lucky day. You'll excuse my, clumsiness? Those tutorials are always so vague, even though they make it look so simple. Well, third time's a charm, right? Suga tried with all his strength to get up, but all that happened was that the object collided faster with his head, and suddenly everything around him was consumed by a dark void. For a moment, he could still see the lights blurring and the silhouette of a man walking towards him. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed it, even though I left you on a quite mean cliffhanger. However, this means that the series continues and there will be more content. One next part is going to be up tomorrow, though I think you'll hate me for that one, but that doesn't matter. By the way, I had upload this very interesting poll, and this is what you answered so far. You were wrong. I wrote the scripts in the following order. First the beat up challenge, then Dark Intentions, and then Flinching, because my mind does not work chronologically. As always, if you liked it, consider leaving a like, because it really helps my channel grow, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. And now I hope you have a wonderful day. Also, on a little side note, this was inspired by a comment about Suga having a stalker. Sadly, I couldn't find that comment anymore. If you have any requests for the future, please write them on the community post for requests so that I can find your comments.